Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing
Good,
fantastic.
good, good. Yeah, yeah, thank hi everyone. I see 7, 8 people joining now. So say hi, just like, make it like cuz I don't know who you are till you say like and then let us know where you're from, okay? We have here Dr. Joe. This is his first time to be on LinkedIn Live, so I feel so honored that, I'm the first one. So
Yeah,
good,
I
good.
feel honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Actually, sorry, I'm just trying to fix stuff here. Okay, so Joe, why don't you tell us more about your background, where you're from, so people can get to know who you are. Because I
Sure.
mean, I know who you, but then like not everyone on LinkedIn know you. So why don't you
Yeah,
just introduce yourself, what you do, and all of that?
sounds great. So my
Mm-hmm.
name is Joe Sallustio. I'm originally from Syracuse, New York. So if anybody knows anything about Syracuse, New York, it snows quite a bit up there. And so that's where I got my undergrad and so on and so forth, and made my way out to Denver, Colorado after getting my undergraduate degree. Spent almost 20 years in Denver, picked up a master's degree there, and that's really where I started my career in higher education as working in college admissions. And I did that for a number of years, advanced very quickly within an organization, and really found a passion for higher education. I love helping people, and really the only sustainable path to change in our society is through education, right? The more educated we are, the more civil and so on. And so then made my way out to Southern California, and see with every move, I get rid of snow. So Syracuse to Denver, a little less snow. Denver to Southern California, no snow. So it's been nice. Oh, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I work for Claremont Lincoln University as the Chief Operating Officer and Executive Vice President.
Mm-hmm.
And our university is focused on leadership and ethics at the graduate level, creating the leaders of tomorrow that are going to be making those decisions really now. Look at what's happened with the virus. Leadership becomes even more important. Financial sustainability, which I know you're very interested in from a personal and professional standpoint. Business sustainability, all of those things are considerations for our students. And that's what I do. I work in higher ed. I love it. And I try to be a thought leader and somebody that talks about the changes that we're experiencing, which I'm sure you're probably hearing about. But that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, so I'm when you see me looking at our screen, I'm actually looking at the comments because I can't see the comments here. So I'm just gonna go over the comments. So Mario Alberto says hello from Siberia. Wow, hi Mario.
Wow.
And then Tim McLean, I don't know if you know him, but he said hi Joe, hi Christine, hi Tim. And then Prasanna Lokhande, hi Jean from Connecticut, USA. Wow, okay, cool.
Very
Thank you for
nice.
letting us know where you are. So thanks for the introduction, Joe. So tell us more about your institution. I know you said Claremont is all online. So I know you posted something about that, and then like I was a little confused. I'm like, wow, all online for university? Like, when do you ever go in person? And then tell us more about how that's working. I mean, I've never known a university that's all online, so that's pretty cool.
Well, now
Yeah.
I would say a lot of universities are moving online.
Oh,
Uh,
okay,
we,
good.
we say we have online education on purpose. Think of, we serve primarily the graduate student. So if you think
Mm-hmm.
about the graduate student who's working,
Mm-hmm.
mom, dads, kids, somebody that's holding a full time job, it's seat time that becomes an issue. I mean, going somewhere and sitting down in a classroom is a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our students are working full time jobs, and vast majority are working that 8 to 5, or probably more than
Mm-hmm.
8 to 5, and they're doing their homework at night. And so online education gives students the accessibility that they need to be able to advance in their career through education.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I don't know about you, but if I had to go somewhere and sit for 3 or 4 hours a night in a classroom, it's impossible. There's no way. And
Yeah.
now you're seeing it with the virus. You're seeing
Yeah.
everybody moving online in some way or somehow. Some moving online with some kicking and screaming, and some doing it a lot easier. But
Yeah.
online education is really what I believe the future looks like. I mean, think about our kids, us. We're on screens all the time, and we're looking at
Mm-hmm.
we're on the internet all the time, and so why not be
Mm-hmm.
learning through the internet and on the internet? I think that's the future of education, and it's maybe happening a little bit faster than anyone
Mm-hmm.
wants it to, but
Mm-hmm.
that's where it's going. So all of our programs that we offer at Claremont Lincoln University are around the idea of ethical leadership, treating people as you want to be treated, really understanding the golden rule and how you execute the golden rule in your leadership setting, right? Because we
Yeah.
want leaders that are mindful.
Yep, exactly. So I'm gonna read the comments. I keep an eye on there. So yeah, if you have any question or comment, please say that in the comments. Okay. So okay. So Heather Hoka said very relevant topic. Thank you. Brent said hi from Michigan. So Tim McLean is asking again. Joe, online classes are a great idea. I've often wondered why it took a pandemic to make it popular.
Yeah, boy, and that's the $1 million question to answer. I think there are some universities that have always been designed to offer online courses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And online courses in anything, Christine, in finance, right? Offering an
Mm-hmm.
online course. You think about finance being the perfect course to learn online because you're spreadsheeting and you're calculating, and do you really need to be
Mm-hmm.
sitting in front of someone?
Mm-hmm.
But so there's been intentional moves to online education, but there have been a
Mm-hmm.
lot of detractors. There's a lot of institutions that have held on tight to traditional learning, and that's been disrupted completely.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, as students look at what the future looks like, are they staying closer to home?
Yeah.
If they're going to go online, do they pick a school that just went online, or you pick a school that's been doing online, like
Mm-hmm.
Claremont Lincoln University, that's been designed for online? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why did it take a pandemic? Because I think in any situation you have people that are change adverse. I mean, you just
Yep.
so it change you have to have a choice to change,
Yep.
and I think this shows our true colors, whether we choose or we're forced.
Yeah, it's like now you don't have a choice. Like either you go virtual or your business die,
That's
right?
it.
So
That's it.
same thing with restaurant. Like they have to do takeout now and then deliver and stuff like that. So actually,
Exactly.
yeah, Joe. So I know. So do you guys have a physical location?
We do
Oh,
have a
okay,
physical location in Claremont.
okay.
It's located in Claremont, California. It's just for administrative offices, and for
Oh,
the 30
okay.
or so staff members that we have.
Okay, so the students still come, or like you said, it's for administrative purposes. So when do a student come to the actual location if it's all just virtual?
Right. So once or twice a year, we have a student gathering, and that gathering is really where the students and faculty come in from all over the country and get to interact together. But
Mm-hmm.
hypothetically, a student never has to come to Claremont, California, to our offices. They're in Canada or in Florida or in New York, and they go take full-time courses, and in about a year they're done with their
Mm-hmm.
graduate degree, and maybe we see them
Mm-hmm.
at commencement. We see them when
Mm-hmm.
they graduate.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, the idea behind online education is that you don't have to ever go. So our students do choose to come once or
Mm-hmm.
twice a year to see us, which
Oh,
we love, of course.
okay. Yeah. So are you there when okay before COVID? Were you also there physically, like regularly at the office as well?
Yeah, we would go
Oh.
into work every day. I think it's great to be together. It's not completely
Um.
necessary because we're fully online for our students, so we can operate fully online.
Okay.
In fact,
Yeah.
we've seen no disruption to our students, no disruption to our operations during this time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
when you're dealing with students and handling students, it's good to be together because you want to
Mm-hmm.
do what's in the
Yep.
best interest of the students,
Yep.
and you have to do it fast.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. So you accept pretty much any students in the United States. Do you also accept international or just mainly
Yeah, we
U.S.?
yes to international students, but we're looking for international students that want to be in their home country and take online courses and get a degree from the United States versus the international student who's going to go through the visa process and come on ground. So
Got it.
so
Got
yes
it.
is the answer, and yes, we're looking for we accept students that want to learn
Mm-hmm.
and want to succeed.
Got it. Got it. Cool. So Tim said yeah, Joe, online classes are a great oh no, wait. As a side note, I'm from Denver originally. Now they legalize pot for public consumption. Gives new meaning to high school. So, okay.
Yeah, it does.
And he said thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
And Aching Ringo said, what are some of the best skill set to master online now?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think even if you look at short programs,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
certificate-based programs where you can
Mm-hmm.
upskill quickly. I mean, you think about the economy right now, and Christine, I know this is something that you are very aware of. There's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who are out of work right now. What are they doing to financially prepare themselves and future-proof against post-COVID-19, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if
Yep.
somebody loses their job, there's a couple of choices. You can spend your time looking for a new job. I don't know who's hiring right now. I think there's some companies that are, but I'm not sure that
Okay.
they're all the way there yet.
Okay.
You can upskill. You could think about going and getting a new skill, and that can be through non-credit education. It could be taking finance courses online. It could be any of those things, or you sit and wait. That doesn't feel like a good option. So what can you do? What are the best courses to be looking at online? I think the answer is that there's probably a school out there that offers you whatever you think you need online to advance your career. It could be human resources, it could be healthcare, it could be finance. It's there are schools out there that have, like Claremont Lincoln University, that are pedagogically designed for online learning, and they probably have a class that will help you get to the next level in your career. So, I would say any and all is upskilling is so critical right now to financial security. I think I lost Christine. So am I on by myself right now? I'm gonna hang tight for her.
Hi. Oh, so sorry about that. I was having some internet connection. So sorry, we're back again. Apologize for that. So okay, I'm gonna go back to reading the on comments. So Melissa said, what do you guys think? Actually, no, I do have a question about the online education. So what about how much is your tuition right now? Because like, I know you have posted how affordable it is. So give us a sense, like, to get like a master's degree or whatever. And I assume it's just all certificate, right? I'm not certificate. It's all just graduate degree, right? You don't offer certificate.
Right. We have 6 graduate degrees, master's degrees, and each one is priced at $18,000 in total. Okay.
Wow.
So the idea here of our institution is that we're about socially conscious education, and one way we are socially conscious is by not contributing to the student debt crisis. And as we talk about people who are in debt, who are going to take on debt to upskill and to become educated, hopefully they're not paying that back over the next 30 to 35 years. Like if you attend an elite institution, you're paying that back forever. You can dig out of a hole. It takes years. So our graduate degree is $18,000. That's 10 courses, $1,800 per course. And we have a lot of students that just pay cash because they're working and they don't want to take on the debt. So, and that's a regionally accredited, fully online master's degree. So,
wow, that's awesome. $18,000 for MBA. Wow, and then that's 2 years full time, right? No, 2 years part time or full time.
So if a student takes full time courses, which is basically 2 courses per term, they can finish in under a year. And that's we offer programs in organizational leadership and healthcare administration, human resources, and so they're desirable. And our healthcare administration program is exploding right now, as you can imagine, with what's going on.
That's awesome. So do you guys offer financial planning courses now or not yet?
We don't have financial planning courses yet, but we do have financial planning as a part, particularly of the business programs. Okay. But I, Christine, I think this is something that we ought to talk about, because I don't think true financial planning is taught in schools as well as it probably should be. Think about, me as a personal example, I can't even remember ever getting any financial planning experience. My mom took me to the bank to learn how to write a check, right? I remember like when I was 15 or 16, she took me to the bank to write a check. I remember taking on a credit card when I was in college and having that, I don't know, $21,000 of debt on my credit card when I left college, because nobody told me about credit card and interest rates. I just didn't, have any idea. So I think we do a poor job of educating our youth on it's not even, I don't know if it's financial literacy as much as it is the impact of your financial decisions when you're young, and how that can truly affect you later in your life.
Yeah, it's actually quite sad. I think I made a comment one time to one of your posts. Like I said, can we rely on the education system to actually teach financial education? And you kind of told me no. So it's like, so you're saying that you don't think it will ever be implemented in like high school or elementary? Well, I think high school at the minimum to college. Like you just don't think it will happen with.
It's tough to say, because the way education is designed. You think about life skills and think about pathways. When you get to college, you choose a pathway. My pathway was, I don't know, a speech communications, right? I took some required financial courses, microeconomics, macroeconomics. I went to my microeconomics course 4 times in the whole semester, because I just tested out and I never went. And so I really never understood. And so I've had to learn. I would say I have a learned financial background. I look at P&Ls all the time,
Mm-hmm.
investments, I've taught myself, but a lot of people don't.
Mm-hmm.
One area I am not well versed on is investments, market investments, the stock market, what to pick, when to pick, dividend. I know about it, but I personally, it's always been intimidating. And so you think about those applicable life skills. Unless you've chosen a finance pathway, you need somebody in your
Mm-hmm.
life. That's why there are financial advisors. I have
Mm-hmm.
a financial advisor. Anybody that is trying to save money that doesn't have a financial advisor has absolutely, it's like taking shots in the dark right now. Uh, because
Yeah.
you're planning
Yeah.
to retire at some point.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
if you don't
Yep.
have somebody telling you how to do that, you're not going
Yeah.
to do it, you know?
Exactly. Yep. I did a post the other day. So you don't hire a coach when you made it. You hire a coach so you can make it.
Exactly.
Right. So
And
some
I
people
think
wait.
there's a stat too,
Mhm.
Christine. I
Yeah.
think most people don't start saving until they're like in their low 40s,
Yep.
right? To really save. If
Mm-hmm.
you do that in your 30s, if you're smart and you hire somebody that gives you advice in your 30s, you're going to
Yep.
retire years earlier.
Yep. Yep.
And it's a mistake a lot of us make is
Yeah.
not saving early enough.
Yep. So my favorite type of clients are actually the early working professionals. And why is that?
Hmm.
Because then they just started their careers. So to me, it's like, wow, this is awesome. So they have a fresh start. They're in their 20s. So actually the client I just interviewed this past Saturday on live. So she's in her 20s and she just, pretty much just started her career. So she's like one of my favorite clients and still ongoing. We still have a relationship. So she still continue to work with me. And then you don't serve as just a financial coach. I also serve as pretty much a life coach too, or even sometimes relationship coach, because at the time, when you're 20s, like you used to go through so much stuff. So in a way, I kind of feel like a big sister to them. So
Sure.
that's my them. So guys, like it's never too early to start. So don't be ashamed. Reach out. Now there's a lot more financial professionals now that actually don't just need you to have assets. Like I can. There's so many advisors I know on LinkedIn that like they're starting to see that, hey, we don't just want to help people with money. Like you start with, you help people with no money first, so
That's
that
right.
way they can be financially educated, right?
Hmm.
So okay, I'm gonna read over the comments. I think I'm kind of behind. Okay, Melissa Lopez said, what do you guys think will happen to with great professors that are tech savvy or old school? Are they being trained? Okay, I guess you meant that are not tech savvy, right? Or old school. So I'll
Yeah,
let
I think
Joe
she.
respond to
Yeah, and I
that.
think
Okay.
she's talking about like professors who
Mm-hmm.
taught in traditional higher ed in the classroom. Now
Mm-hmm.
they've moved online,
Yeah.
and what happens to those people? I think the answer is there's some resistance to that. There's a big difference between remote learning and classes being moved online and true
Mm-hmm.
online education.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're going to see some fallout. And there's a lot of people. When you look at when you think about financial literacy and you think about return on investment, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
education should hopefully provide you, is some level of
Mm-hmm.
return on investment that you understand. And
Yep.
I think education in general has done a poor job at explaining that to students.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Here's this elite institution, it's going to cost you $200,000 over 4 years, and
Yeah.
what's your return? Who
Yeah.
knows? So I think
Ex-
people are getting smarter now about
Yep.
that.
Yep. I can totally relate. So I like for my clients, okay, let's just talk about student debts now. So I've seen clients with six-figure digit, six-figure student loans, and then it just makes me sad because like sometimes some of them like they did a master's, and then like for some reason when they find a job, like their job isn't like equitable to what they had to spend.
Hmm.
And then this company, I mean, after the Fed loan is done, like it usually it's go to the third party, and this third party, company, they don't care about you paying it all. They will make sure you don't understand your student loans. They make it as complicated as possible. They
Yep.
want to make sure that you are confused as heck and you don't understand it. And I have to teach my client how to read their statement. And part of my work with them is that homework. They have to list out all their student loans, and sometimes it's so complicated. There's like 10 loans just for like 1 year, like what the
Yeah.
heck, and then it's like multiple interest rate, right? so
Yeah.
so I we have to educate them on that, and then so it's just very sad. So it's like, yeah, Joe, if you have anything to share about student debt, student loans.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it if you can. I think
Okay.
go to college, but do it in a smart way. Here's what
Yeah.
I would tell everybody: you
Yeah.
have the buying power now.
Mm-hmm.
Back in, even before the crisis
Yeah.
here, the university has a lot of, sway. It could be
Mm-hmm.
exclusive. They could tell you can come, you can't come. But now the student really has the buying power. They could choose any university in the country that offers courses. So
Mhm.
do your research. And, sometimes it's better to have, maybe if you look at schools in an exclusivity factor, which I don't subscribe to that. But if you
Mhm.
wanted to attend what we would consider an elite institution, go to one maybe that's a little less elite and take on less debt. And in later in life, unless maybe you're trading on a stock exchange or something, I don't think
Mhm.
anybody really puts a ton of stock into the name of your college. You just want to know
Yeah.
where you got a degree. Was it accredited? Is it recognized? And
Mhm.
community colleges are going to play a huge role right now,
Yep.
because
Yep.
because it's state subsidized education.
Mhm.
You can get that 2-year degree and then go anywhere you
Mhm.
want.
Yep.
And so I think there's going to be a
Yep.
bigger role in reducing overall debt.
Mhm.
Right now, there are parents out there that are sending their kids to college that
Mhm.
have lost a job or
Mhm.
lost some level of income. And now what happens? What happens to those parents? What
Mhm.
happens to those kids? And I think that's where somebody
Mhm.
like you comes in, Christine, to help advise
Mhm.
people how to get through this. I mean, more
Yep.
than ever, advice is going to be so important to people
Yeah.
who are particularly who are out of work.
Yeah, thank you. And then I just want to share to everyone, like I'm Chinese, but I was born and raised in the Philippines. So when I moved here at 20, I already took 3 years of college in the Philippines. But when I transfer here, because it was an international to domestic, they would not credit everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
literally half of them were gone. So I had to do everything again. And then I wasn't even a California resident. If you're not a California resident, like community college, like charge you like $100, and a unit. And then I
Yeah.
had like no money. I was 20-year old, no money, came to the United States. So and then I wasn't a California resident, so I just worked full time. And then after I reached my 1 year, I went to school. So I was working and studying full time. And you know how much I had to pay out of pocket? Like I took like grant, I took mainly grant. I didn't have any loan. So the thing I paid for was only a few $100s to get my undergrad in computer science. Granted, I
Mm-hmm.
never really end up using it, but I used it in my early career. But I have no regrets because it gave me good jobs, but it wasn't really what I wanted. But so there are options. I mean, if you can save or you can work and then go to school, I mean, do that, right? I mean, student, as much as possible, try to avoid student loan debt. It's like I don't know. It's just like at the end of the day, it's like it doesn't do you any good unless it's like for the last resort. Okay,
Well, and
so I'm.
it
Oh,
might
what?
be impossible to avoid all debt, but you certainly
Yeah.
can minimize it.
Yes, exactly. So let me read the comment. So Linwood says, "Hi, Christine. Hi, Joe. Glad to see both of you." And then he said he's watching from Pasadumkig, Maine. Okay, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but okay, from Maine.
For Maine, all
Virgin,
right.
yeah, we're Virginia watching from New York City. Hi, wow, New York City. Hope everything's okay now with the COVID there. Louise said, "Christine, good evening and a great pleasure to participate in this event." Thanks, Louise. Aching us. Wait, where did I go? Okay. Aching us. If how do you know a well accredited program?
Yeah, so right now, as it stands, there's
Mm-hmm.
6 regional accrediting bodies in
Mm-hmm.
the United States. So you're
Mm-hmm.
really looking for an institution that is regionally accredited, which is by and large considered the gold standard of accreditation.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about California,
Mm-hmm.
where Claremont Lincoln University is accredited by WASC, is the
Mm-hmm.
short WASC. It's Western
Mm-hmm.
Association of Schools. That's
Mm-hmm.
California primarily, and they also
Mm-hmm.
accredit Stanford and UCLA and other schools you might have heard of before. So you want to
Mm-hmm.
look for that regional accreditation. Always hit a website of a school. Always go to the About section. Always look at the
Okay.
accreditation before you make a decision.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay. Anita, do online courses have same value as courses done through traditional methods? Do companies give same amount of importance for it? So I think Joe already kind of responded to that. So hopefully, Anita, you caught that.
Yes is the
So
short answer.
yes, okay. Virginia, has Dr. Sallustio seen a large spike in enrollment since the pandemic?
Yeah, I think at our institution, the answer would be yes. We've seen an increase. Searches for online colleges and online
Mm-hmm.
education are up like 1,000%
Mm-hmm.
across the country, because
Mm-hmm.
people don't want to go away from home right now. If you think about 6 months from now, what's that going to feel like? So it might be safer to stay home. So yes
Yeah.
is the answer. Most schools who are online are seeing a big boost in their enrollment. Yeah.
Yep. Good. Okay. So, Luis Carlos said, "What do you think of micro learning, and what are the advantages?" I'm not sure what micro learning is.
Micro learning might be sort of micro credentials
Okay.
Coursera would offer, or
Okay.
Udacity, where you
Got
take
it.
a course over a couple day
Okay.
period and pay 20
Mm-hmm.
bucks or something to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I think any learning is good learning. I think that there's a big difference between non-credit and credit. But
Mm-hmm.
if you can go get short course learning that upskills you to go get a job, or
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the great thing about learning is that there should be a pathway for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. I fully agree. Any learning is better learning than watching video games and watching TV. Okay.
That's right.
So okay, Antonio Buford says hi, Christine. Hi, Antonio. So Luis said, Dr. Joe Sallustio, good night and nice to meet you. Good night. I'm not
Good
sure where you're
night.
from, but good night. So Antonio said, how do you balance both? I'm not sure what you're referring to, the both. So if you can just clarify that. Okay. So in the meantime, while I wait for you, Antonio. So I'm gonna ask Joe. I think part of the website what I read for is like you're about effective marketing, like that's part of your job. So tell us, like, how do you, I mean, you're showing up on LinkedIn and you're executive VP, and then so that's awesome that you're on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
just tell us more, like, how are you marketing for Claremont, and then you showing up here? That's good. So everyone check out this Claremont afterwards. I'm gonna make sure to tag him and tag Claremont afterwards, so send him connection requests, so yeah. Okay, so tell us more about how you're doing your marketing.
We
Mhm.
market. We use a little of your computer science degree, Christine. So we go on. We're doing Google PPC. We run ads on
Okay.
Facebook, and all the sort of traditional ways. I
Mhm.
believe this is just my personal feeling that for anybody that's going to choose a college today, they need to see the leadership. And so
Mhm.
that's my philosophy, and
Yep.
why I'm active on LinkedIn is because I think that you have to trust
Mhm.
me as much as you have to trust the university. If you don't know
Yeah.
who's the man or the woman
Yep.
behind the curtain right
Yep.
now,
Yep.
there's been a lot of
Yeah.
controversy in higher
Yep.
education, and so I think the transparency is
Yep,
important right
yep.
now.
I love it. I love it that you're online. So like I said, like people always ask me, like, like, I mean, how do I make LinkedIn work? How do I grow so much? How do I get clients? It's because when you show up on social media, you need to earn, you have people have to like you, know you, and trust you.
That's
And
right.
how do you earn that? You show up daily, you through your posts, to responding to comments, so people get to know you somehow, showing up on live. So that's very important. So I fully agree with it. And then a lot of like university or big companies is like, I don't know, like, who are these people? Like, you want to get to know the CEO sometimes. So I think
Yeah,
I'm starting to see like people, the CEO on LinkedIn or social media. So I think it's really great. I feel like, more people should show up, so at least, we can connect with you. You're just human, and then we can
that's
actually
right.
comment with you. It's like, oh, who's this Joe? So everyone connect with him, okay, afterwards.
That'd be
Just
great.
don't
Yeah,
send him cold messages or cold pitches, okay?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Andrew asked Dr. Joe, any advice or resources in learning good learning tactics in regards to how a person effectively learns something?
Um, Good learning time. Time management is the ultimate key to learning online. Particularly for online, if you're
Hmm.
if you're managing yourself,
Hmm.
think about my doctorate is recent, and I had two little kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I was doing homework. I would work out at nighttime between 8:30 and 9:30, and do homework
Wow.
from 9:30 to 11 every night. And I did that for 4 years. And
Wow.
so it's discipline and time management. You have
Yep.
to, and I think those probably, Christine, if
Hmm.
you were going to respond to the financial responsibility, are probably two of the same things.
Yeah. Okay. So Kirsten said thank you. Okay, you're welcome. Virginia said, Christine, people know you, like you, and trust you. Oh, thank you,
Look at
Virginia.
that.
Okay, so I love LinkedIn. I love my LinkedIn family. Okay, so tell us more. I know. Okay, I was trying to tag Elvin actually because I met you through Elvin,
That's
and then
right.
I've been on his podcast. Actually, my first podcast, for since the first podcast I ever did was like 3 years ago, and then Elvin was my first podcast since I've been active on LinkedIn. So like I
Mm,
really appreciate that. I felt honored. So I know Elvin. I met you because of Elvin. And
yes,
then now you both have this podcast. So
we
tell
do.
us more about that podcast.
So the podcast is called the Ed Up Experience, and you can check it out at www.edupexperience.com, all one
Hmm.
word. And what we do is we highlight what's going on in higher education. We have interviews from thought leaders, college presidents, people in and around the industry that are basically telling our listeners what is going on right now. One of our most recent guests is Scott Pulsifer. He was the president of Western Governors University. They have over 120,000 students, all online. And so we're able to highlight those issues in higher education that are going on right now. We're growing fast. We have a lot of streams, a lot of people interested. And shout out to my co-host, Elvin Freites, and my other co-host, Elizabeth Leiba.
Yeah, cool, cool. Oh, it's the three of you
Three of
usually.
us.
Oh, very, very cool. Okay. So actually, I do have a question. I'm curious because now that I have live, part of me actually wanting to utilize the audio as well, download and put in the podcast because this is probably, I don't know, my fifth live. I'm like, might as well utilize the name out there. So if someone has to start a podcast, how do they do that?
There's great apps out there you can use. An easy one is called Anchor. Anchor is a really easy app. You can get started by yourself, but I think you got to figure out what the heck you're going to talk about. That was the hard part for us. Let's start a podcast. What are we going to talk about every time? But you have to have some kind of format that you follow, some idea, and you have to be able to find people to be guests. You could do it yourself all the time and talk about something, but eventually I think the guest enhances your ability. And most people want to come on and talk about their company or their experience or themselves. And so all you've got to put the work in though. And just like anything else.
Yep. Yeah. So thank you for that. And and then actually, like, you are right that having a guest is actually a lot more fun. Like, you are my guest now because like I've been wondering like, what should I do now that I have LinkedIn Live? Because I literally just got it last week, right? It's like, do I just show up solo? Who do I interview? So I was like trying to figure out what, but then I was thinking if I only focus on financial professional, some people might not be able to relate. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to open it up to interesting people to come on the guest. And then, they love to talk about themselves. And then we'll somehow revolve that back to money because everyone can relate to money, right? So yeah, actually, we might guys, so if you have any audience, LinkedIn, so if you have any last minute question, please feel free before, Joe goes away. So so Joe, before stuff, so why don't you share more about, I guess because I'm a financial coach, so why don't you share more about, I know you said like you learn money pretty early in life. So tell about your history with money, your relationship with money, because apparently you're very successful. So that you're very good with money, you're against student debt. So tell us more about your story around money.
I have a great relationship with money. I like to think that I love money. It loves me, hopefully.
Yes, I love that.
Very early on in life, very early on in my career, I was really lucky to get into a situation where I was earning probably more than I should have been earning at that time. Right place, right time. I had some sizable bonuses due to high performance. And I went and I right away, was like, what do I do? I can't just go buy $300 pair of jeans and go out every weekend and blow all this money. I need to get a financial advisor. And my financial advisor challenged me to change my lifestyle, to live within my means, because I was living within my means, but no matter how much I made, I was being, paycheck to paycheck there for a while because I was spending, going crazy, spending money. I don't even know what I spent. But a financial advisor that said, look, you need to stretch, you need to save more. Somebody would call me and go, my advisor, $25 more. Can you save $30 more, $50 more? So next thing you know, I was saving big chunks of money. And that eventually turned into buying a house and having a sizable down payment to buy a house, which is continually bringing in equity for me. And so I think that there was just a thought. I always had this thought, I want to retire early. That I want to, at 55 years old, I want to be traveling while I still have my health. But the only way to do that is to get with somebody that understands how to make that happen. And I still don't understand how to make that happen. I mean, and it fluctuates. My investments fluctuate up and down. There's long-term, short-term. But I have somebody that watches it for me that I trust. And I think that is a huge relief for me to know that I have an advisor that has my best interests at heart. And what a mistake it would have been for me not to save that money at the beginning of my career.
Got it. So I know you said you're living paycheck to paycheck. So if you can turn back that time, like what drove you to just live paycheck to paycheck? Like, it's like, did you just not understand the concept of saving? And then, before you start working with financial advisors, it's like, what was that drive? And how old were you at that time?
I was in my early to mid 20s, probably the mid 20s. And not that I didn't have a concept of saving, but I think I didn't feel the urgency to save because you're always thinking about the right now, right? I'm 25, I'm 26. I need my money. My friends are going out over here, and I
Mhm.
need to take, $1,000 out of savings because I want to go on this trip. Do I really need to
Mhm.
go on this trip?
Yeah.
And so I think it was just a lack of we call it strategic foresight, how my life needed to
Yep.
look in the future.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
blew I blew some money. I think we all do when we're young. Um, but I think the faster you smarten up and the faster you
Yeah.
look at somebody to help you, the better you're going to be in the
Yep.
long run.
Yep. So everyone, listen there. Dr. Joe said the faster you get smarter about money, the easier it will be for you. Okay.
Yep.
So Kirsten said, "What about doing Dave Ramsey? It's discipline, budget." Kirsten, you're right. So I have my own personal opinion about Dave Ramsey, and Dr. Joe can share his opinion. But so for me, I like Dave Ramsey in a way. Everyone don't know him. He's a financial coach guru. He's very popular online. So he's all about paying down debt, savings, and all of that. So there, I do like him in a sense that when I listen to his radio, he's very tough on people who needed to be tough on. Like
Hmm.
like literally, like people still keep being on debt, living paycheck to paycheck, even though they can afford it. So sometimes you need a Dave Ramsey to kind of slap you to like, here's your reality, okay? So just eat rice and beans, whatever, so just so you can get out of debt. So in that sense, I do agree with him. I do like that. But what I do not agree with him on is that he's all about not having any debt at all. So I'm okay with some debt. My debt, I have a debt. This is my home. I have a mortgage. So why is that? Let me explain. So I have to write an article about this because someone asked me this question. So my mortgage, I'm in California. I'm in Silicon Valley. Okay, it's expensive here. So I have a 30-year mortgage. Fixed mortgage is 3.625%. Okay, so
Mm.
that's a good rate. So okay, if I have so after the tax deduction, so we were able right now because of the 2018 change, you cap at a certain point, but we were able to be under that cap. So everything or a mortgage interest is tax deductible. So after the tax deduction, it's probably give or take 3.5% after the tax deduction. Okay, so if I have $1,000 extra cash flow every month, what would I do with that? Let's say I already have my emergency fund, whatever. If I have a choice between paying down my mortgage or investing it, what would I do? So for me, I would invest that. Why? Because my historical returns for mine, yes, the pandemic, blew stuff down to the ground, but then like the average, like, over the last couple of years, like 5 years, my average for my investment has been like 7%. So it's like it's the no brainer. If I have $1,000, where would I put it? I'm all about putting in place that has a higher rate of return, and I'm okay running my mortgage for 30 years because then 7 minus 3.5, I'm making a lot more, 3.5%. So that's the part where I disagree with him. And then like I know some Dave Ramsey fans probably not gonna be happy with this because sometimes like we get into big argument about that. But you do you, whatever feels comfortable for you. If you wanna, if make paying down debt makes you feel a lot better, there's a huge emotional reason, then go for it. But me, I'm very practical. I look at, even though I'm Asian, right? So I was raised with, yeah, you shouldn't have any debt. You shouldn't have any debt. Pay down any debt. So I, because I'm a coach now, so I look at things on a practical sense. And then like, when we had that this mortgage, I was like, I kept thinking, at first I was thinking, should I pay it off? Then afterward I was doing the analysis. I'm like, why should I pay that off? I'm getting a lot more money in my investment. So we're totally fine. We're gonna run our 30-year mortgage, and then we're happy with that. We're content with that, and this is our only debt. And then like I keep investing any extra cash I have. And then now, because the pandemic, the market is down, but to me I see that as a sale. So if I have extra cash, I would put my money there because I am very confident in the market. Recession happens every 10 years. The last recession was 2008 housing bubble, so give or take about 10 years. So but every year the years is really green. There's very few reds
Hmm.
if you look at the historical. So that's how much I trust in the market. Okay, our economy is very strong. Nothing is permanent. This pandemic is not gonna be permanent. Okay, we will get through this. Okay, so
That's
it might
right.
sound like it's permanent, but it's not permanent. Okay, so okay, I'm gonna read the comment. Okay, Virginia said, Dr. Sallustio was living in the moment, work hard, play hard, until the reality set in, a voice of reason. Excellent. Okay, excellent. So
True.
Okay, so there's no more additional questions. So Joe, why don't you let people know how can people find you, and then are you open to people sending you connection requests, whatever?
Of
So just
course.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just look up Joe Sallustio. You see my name probably right there. I also have
Hmm.
my own website. It's www.joesallustio.com. And then from there, you can go to any of my social media accounts that I have. Of course, I would ask you to check out Claremont Lincoln University, and that's www.claremontlincoln.edu if you're interested in graduate education or whatever. Just checking out classes, maybe even asking for advice. We're always willing to help. And that's how people can find me. I'm also very active on LinkedIn. You can check out the podcast, the Ed.D
Hmm.
Experience. And yeah, I'm easy to find. Let me just say that on purpose.
Yeah. Awesome, Joe. So great. And then don't worry, guys. I will modify the description to tag him and tag Claremont, because before I couldn't tag you, but I will tag you after. And then yeah, follow him. He's always posting. He's active. So get to know Joe, and then who knows, you might sign up for Claremont for a master's degree, and
Who
then
knows?
1 year you're gonna have a master's degree, right?
And then you're going to need a financial advisor. So contact Christine Day.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Hire me, hire me. Just kidding. Okay, just so you can reach out to me too. Okay. So okay, Joe. Yeah, I'm gonna end now. Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you so much,
Bye,
everyone,
everybody.
for joining in. So I think we had about 20 people come in and go. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And then have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
So uh